combined 1-11 this season. The Jets finished with -10 net passing yards in the loss and leading to questions about QB Justin Fields' job security.
Is he going to be your quarterback next week, or would you?
Come on, man. What kind of question is that?
He did not have a good game. I mean, I think it's a fair question.
There's a number of guys that, sometimes this league is like this, and there are guys that have bad games. That doesn't mean you just bench them. Come on, you know better than that.
So speaking again earlier this morning, Glenn admitted that Fields took a step back Sunday, but said, I don't think you just try to bench a player after having one true bad game. So Stephen A., here's the question. Which team needs to reset more? Is it the Jets or the Dolphins?
Sometimes we have to admit we just don't freaking know. I just got on national television at the beginning of the show and said Mike McDaniel's got to go. I'm not going to say that about Aaron Glenn. But I'll be damned if somebody ain't in a position to call me a liar. I don't know. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, clearly with the Jets, it's an organizational thing. The New York Jets, I want America to understand how bad the New York Jets have been. Cam Newton, the retired Cam Newton, okay, won league MVP 5 years after the Jets had their last winning season. They made the playoffs. They've had one winning season in 14 years. They have missed the playoffs 14 consecutive years. The level of futility is so alarming, you have to wonder whether or not you should change the water boy. Dang. The water might be contaminated. You got to look into everything. It's so bad, you got to look beyond football to find out where else something's going wrong, because it has to be contaminating football, because you can't believe that level of futility exists. The Jets are awful. I mean, horrid. And Aaron Glenn is at the helm now. And then when you got players like yesterday, like, that was the explanation. I don't know. They're like, we don't know what's going on. Now, that's where the indictment comes in. When a player comes across as clueless as to the direction of a play, or what play was being called, or whether or not it was the right play. The players were on the sideline saying they didn't understand the play. That's coaching. But the coaching may very well have been contaminated by the franchise, because when we saw Aaron Glenn on a real NFL sideline, he was considered an elite defensive coordinator deserving of the head coaching job. Yeah. So I don't know the answer to this question. All I know is this. I hope he don't lose his job, but if he does, it ain't going to be nobody protesting about it. And that's just the truth.
Look, I hear you say all the time, Stephen A., that there's a black cat walking around that Jets facility. It certainly feels like it every single year. Cam,
I'm scared to drive by their practice facility. Something might go wrong. I might come down with something. It's bad over there with the Jets. It's bad.
Cam, who needs to reset more, the Jets or the Dolphins?
I'm going to go with the Dolphins. There's valuable excuses that can be said and be had in New York. Now, I will say, plays or displays of what we seen yesterday from the New York Jets execution-wise, those are reasons why coaches get fired. It's not just because of the record. It's more so the display of how you guys are losing the game. When you see guys, having poor execution of blunders right before a half, and then that's not the thing, Stephen A., to your point, as you said earlier or alluded to, with Tua Tagovailoa and Mike McDaniels. I've never seen Garrett Wilson just act out like this. It's like, what are we doing? Ever. And, I ain't never see this happen with Aaron Rodgers last year, and he had all the reason to act out in this type of manner. But at the end of the day, when you see Aaron Glenn console him right there and come up with an understanding, that's promising. What's happening in Miami, it ain't nothing to just come back from that because it's unraveling faster than November 1st as a mummy, meaning that Halloween costumes is now put up for next year. Ladies and gentlemen, it is bad, and I mean real bad for Tua and Mike McDaniels, and it's going to be an unfortunate outcome, in a couple weeks.
Well, here's why I say Miami, because you got to have patience, at least this year, with the Jets. You mentioned that Aaron Glenn came from Detroit with Dan Campbell. And Dan Campbell's first year, they only won 3 football games. They didn't get their first tie until November 14th, 2021, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the week before, they lost 44-6 to the Eagles, right? And then later, December 5th, they get their first win. So it took that entire time for culture to take place, for things to take hold. And they had a former Super Bowl starting quarterback as the quarterback to kind of lead them. That's what the Jets have to figure out. Is Justin Fields our guy? How do we get Justin Fields, if I'm Tanner Engstrand, how do I get him to play his best? In Miami, we've seen their best already. We've seen them be a team we thought could contend for the AFC East. We've seen them be a team that gets into the playoffs and goes to Kansas City, and because it's below 0 temperatures, they can't even function. Now we're seeing a team that's unraveling before our eyes publicly, pointing fingers at one another. The Jets are starting over, and now the team that needs to reset or maybe to start over is the Miami Dolphins.
Well, what I'm saying is, and I don't disagree with that, I'm just saying that Dan Campbell was losing football games. You didn't see players on the sideline throwing their hands like, we don't know what we're doing. And like yesterday was a very, very bad day for Coach Aaron Glenn. When Justin Fields got, ladies and gentlemen, do you understand that it was minus 10 passing yards yesterday? You went backwards. It's minus 10. Do you understand that non-football people can go on a football field and do 0? Like 0.
Do we need a graphic for that, though? Do we need the graphic?
You understand the magnitude of what I'm saying? Non-football people can go on the football field and record a 0. No yards rushing, no yards passing, nothing. You understand? You know how difficult it is to go through a game and be minus? My Lord. And then I brought up how you had the players, Gary Wilson, them looking like befuddled and lost, and that was for the world to see. I'm just saying that kind of moment, that kind of thing happening on your watch is a very bad thing. It's one thing to lose. It's another thing to look lost. When you're the coach, your players aren't supposed to look lost. Why is Bill Belichick taking heat? This is a 6-time champion as a head coach, an 8-time champion overall. We're watching Carolina. It's not just that they're losing games. You're looking at Bill Belichick in the microphone, forgetting the technology that we live in this day and age, repeatedly asking, what are we doing? What are we doing? See, that, and again, it's not as flagrant, but you see that. And when you see something like that, it becomes very, very scary because it means that as a coach, you're not reaching your players or you don't know what the hell you're doing. We ain't going to ever accuse Bill Belichick for not knowing what he's doing. We don't know to say that about Aaron Glenn when it comes to him as a head coach.
No, I think the points you make about how it looks is extremely important. Like, how hard are we competing? How are we executing? How prepared are we for each situation? Those are the things that Aaron Glenn has to focus on as this season goes on, because it's apparent now that this roster is not in place to win. So what gives me hope as you go into next season? What happens down the stretch of this season? Does this team stay together? Does the locker room continue to galvanize? And can we get young players to play at a level where we believe there's a chance for you to win? If he doesn't do those things, they're going to continue to be these questions that we see post-game as to whether or not Justin Fields will be the starting quarterback the next.
And by the way, last thing, Cam and stuff, you got Sam Darnold who was there. He's balling. You got, Zach Wilson is a backup in Miami. We get that part. You know, you just see Aaron Rodgers. He's winning in Pittsburgh right now. I mean, everywhere you turn, people are having ammunition to troll the New York Jets. It's just very, very bad.
It is. It's bad, but you give Aaron Glenn a little bit more grace because it is his first season, so you wait to see what happens in the hopefully consequential seasons that'll come for him. All right, coming up, another major injury hits the Niners. Wait until you hear what RC has to say about